All right, everyone. Welcome back to the 10PDC podcast. Coach Gino here, along with Mark. Mark, give him a shout.
What's up, everyone?
Today, everyone, we got some recaps for the last UFC event, UFC 286, if I'm correct, Usman and Edwards. Got some gym announcements for everyone from the team, and we got some events coming up this weekend. Combat Jiu-Jitsu Worlds and Medusa are both happening this weekend, the Eddie Bravo's tournaments on UFC Fight Pass. So let's jump right in. At the gym, most of you guys have heard I'm doing limited time private lessons. They're getting a sale on them, half off. If you guys are interested, let me know. We are doing these upcoming for just the next couple weeks, and then we're going to be doing this before I leave for Thailand in April. So again, let me know if you guys are interested in a private lesson with me. Other than that, we are getting some new gear coming up. So we will be putting the link out once we get it. It should be within the week for Muay Thai shorts. Okay, so the Muay Thai shorts are going to be coming in. We got a new version of them coming out. Hopefully you guys again save your money. You guys can pick up a pair or two, and we'll see you guys rocking them around the gym soon. We got some more gear coming up. But those Muay Thai shorts, we usually do them once or twice a year. Usually we did a version last year. This year is going to be a little different. So pick them up. There's no guarantee they're coming back after we sell these ones. We've got last weekend also, along with the UFC fights, we had Logan Diaz's Muay Thai bout. He had a good fight. It was a loss by decision, but again, Logan had a good event there for the team and all those who have been supporting. Appreciate you guys for coming out. And again, it was a great fight. We're going to have another one pretty soon. We hopefully get Logan back in next month. We're keeping him active. And, you know, he's been progressing definitely. This last one, we saw a lot of different lot of growth. That definitely is one way to put it. And we're going to see him come out and shine soon on the next ones. And I know he's going to just get better and better every time. Shout out to CMA team for stepping up and taking the fight last minute. It was a quick notice fight, and you know we were able to make it work. I know there was a lot of stuff going on before the fight, but you know it's all love. We all figured out a way to make it work, and we had a good event and a good show for everyone. Coming up, also again the classes. We're picking up with classes. We're hoping to expand more on classes. We'll keep you guys posted on that. But for now, again, let's make sure you guys are spreading the word, please, out to your friends and family who are interested. You know, the yoga classes, the jiu-jitsu, the kids classes, the morning, the afternoon classes. We got a lot of different areas where we're trying to make sure we grow in. And even though our gym is doing well in those average spots, those 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock spots in the evening, we want to grow the other times for the classes. So again, if you guys know people available mornings and the nights and mornings and afternoons, then let's spread the word. You know, it's always good to get extra training partners in, and we want to make sure everyone is got a good group that they can work with. The more people they work with, the better. On the opposite end, it is nice to have those smaller classes when you get extra attention, and take advantage. If you want a little more attention to your game specifically, drop into a morning class every now and then. If you have a day off or something, you can change your game a lot with a session that is really more focused on you rather than a big group. And on the opposite end, you need a little bit of both, right? You need to have those small classes along with the big classes so you can get a lot of different training partners to work your game. So let us know, again, if you guys have questions about the schedule. We're trying to, again, grow it out, all the classes, Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, Yoga, and we're just trying to keep it growing. So reach out if you guys have any issues or concerns about any of the classes. So we got the gym, again, moving along smoothly. Everything is going well. Again, keep signing up, keep showing up for class, keep training hard. As far as the gym announcements, that's pretty much it. And we're going to move on now to recapping the last weekend's UFC. I'm going to talk about this briefly. I really want to start talking about the lessons we learned from these fights, more so than, just the play-by-plays. I think you guys can go and watch these fights on your own. But, this is going to be an opportunity to give a take on what we need to learn from each of these fights. Now, let's touch base again. Let's talk about the co-main and the main event. Co-main, Justin Gaethje wins a decision on Fiziev. Man, I went 0 for 5 this weekend. I didn't predict any of these fights correctly, and all of these guys upset me. Gaethje, Mark, did you pick Gaethje? I forget.
I had Gaethje.
You did pick Gaethje. My ass. I was overhyping Fiziev. I think Mark. What was your opinion on that fight? You picked it. You called it, and you had it right.
I usually just go by who I'm rooting for. So for this one, I'm a big Justin Gaethje fan. So
Now, Fiziev, him having that Muay Thai experience and that background, I thought he would be able to capitalize on it. But Gaethje is just experiencing that MMA rule set and understanding that MMA, the way you fight MMA, doesn't necessarily translate to Muay Thai or any other sport. And he capitalized on it through big, heavy hands, rock Fiziev. I don't think Fiziev was ready for that power. Fiziev looked very small in there, honestly. I didn't realize the size difference would be that big. But when he got hit by Gaethje, you can tell it counted. Fiziev was trying to throw hard and trying to get Gaethje out quick, but we all know Gaethje's super durable and was able to execute his game plan. Good boxing, good movement. Like Gaethje got into some moments of war where I think he was saying he was trying to avoid getting into those wars, but it happens. It's just the way his style is. But great fight again. Super big respect to Justin Gaethje. I definitely underestimated his ability to bounce back, and I kind of overestimated Fiziev's ability with his Muay Thai. But it is what it is, and you can't make them all right. And I'm a prime case for that. You can't pick them all correct. Now, the main event, Leon Edwards versus Kamaru Usman. We saw Leon able to defend against the takedowns, most of the takedowns. We were able to see him do the damage with the striking and really shut Usman out. When I watched it first live, I wasn't really paying too close attention, but I did see Usman continuing to shoot and hold Leon, and I didn't see the damage as close as I should have. But on the second time watching it, yeah, it's definitely a clear victory for Leon with that, damage he inflicted on Usman. With that point deduction in the third, with him taking it down, I thought that would be a huge factor as well. But again, we talk about the evolution of the sport. We talk about how these judges are being more educated on realizing that damage is such a significant factor other than just the control time. And that's a fair way to judge, I feel. And even though it's something that I'm not used to seeing, I feel it is the way the direction should be going. Is in these fights, we need to be counting damage, number one, first and foremost. Leon was able to hit him with elbows, with knees, with body kicks, with leg kicks. Usman didn't really do too much to damage Leon. He definitely tried to control and put the pressure on him, but he didn't do any damage. So I think it's a fair win for Leon. And I think Usman definitely, we see signs of him having some issues with keeping that kind of pace that he's known for, like trying to just be a bully in there, running after him, and like going for that takedown and succeeding on those takedowns. Leon did a good job defending. Usman was able to get 3 takedowns the whole fight, and I think he shot maybe 10 times. So with that, we saw no damage with those takedowns, and Usman was not able to capitalize on them. And even though he got Leon down, they definitely need to score them differently than they used to in the past. When you take someone down, there's no damage. There's not really much to say there. He took him down, but so what? Unless he was able to put him under a threatening submission or able to land some strikes, holding a guy down has got to be second to like landing strikes, landing hits, being able to knee him, elbow him. There's definitely more of an incentive to win or to call a winner when there's damage inflicted and not just a holding contest. Okay, so now we talk about what we learned from this experience with Leon beating Usman, right? Because we have this was the third fight for these guys, and in the first match, I think Leon spoke about it briefly before. He's like, he was so focused on Usman's game during the first match. Excuse me. He moved to AKA from Britain, and he decided to work on his wrestling defense. And his whole focus was just wrestling defense. He wasn't able to focus on his game, what he does best, which is the striking, being able to control the range. And he became so obsessed with that wrestling defense that he wasn't able to polish his strengths and his attributes. Ended up losing that fight. Second fight, we saw Leon obviously able to get his striking effective with that knockout. Even the whole fight, we saw Usman winning a lot of it. Leon had some moments, but Usman won a lot of that fight. But in the fifth, we saw the most growth out of Leon Edwards, with him just being able to stuff takedowns, do damage when Usman closed the distance, and really keep the range and keep the fight on his terms. So when we talk about this, we got to take that understanding of, when a fighter loses, especially in an MMA rule set, it doesn't necessarily mean that's where they're going to stick. And in general, that's how we should look at it from our own perspectives in our own lives. Just because you lose in a certain rule or a certain time or a certain, competition, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to translate to you being that way for the rest of your life. You can always evolve. You can always change your game. You can change the way your coaching is, the way your training is, and you can evolve. Leon's a prime example of that. He decided after that first fight that, hey, I need to stop focusing so much on what the other guys are doing, and I need to focus on what I do best. Make sure that's my key. You definitely see him working his weaknesses, with him having to adjust towards the grapplers who just want to grab and control him. But Leon now has the ability to do damage when the distance is closed and able to defend those takedowns better, especially defending the damage from those takedowns. When he was getting taken down, he was able to pop back up, get to the fence, get up, and mitigate all the damage. And that's the key. Like, sometimes with these strikers, when they go and deal with the wrestlers, you have to focus more so on making sure you can be a defensive wrestler and still do the damage you need to on these wrestlers. Because if you overlook the fact that you need to still keep your striking there, you still need to make sure you got the pop in your shots, you're able to throw the elbows and knees and everything, and you just focus on the other guy's game, you'll never be able to really capitalize on what you do good at. And you don't have the opportunity to, because you in the camp, a lot of these strategies are dictated and they're laid out for you. And good fighters usually listen to it. There'll be some really good guys with instincts that just can adjust on the fly. But a lot of fighters follow their coach's lead with the strategies and game plans. And when you strategize your game around solely the other guy, it doesn't always mean success. You definitely want to find a balance of, all right, understanding what a guy does good, but remembering what you do good, and at the same time remembering where his weaknesses are, and you exposing those weaknesses to your best ability. I think a lot of the times we get too focused on who is in front of us, and we forget about who we are, not necessarily who we are, but what we can do, right? What can you do that's good, and how do you implement that game plan on your opponent? The opponent can do a million different things, right? But if you're first to initiate your game plan, you put him on the defensive, you put him on the back end, on the back foot, and then you can execute your game plan, right? You got to be the first to pull the trigger. You got to be the first one sometimes to just initiate your plan. If your plan is to be a counter fighter, that can work in your favor too. If you are crafty enough and you can read enough of the attacks from your opponent and be able to counter them, then that may be a strategy in itself. But whatever your strategy is, whatever the fact of the matter is with your game and your style, you got to be able to implement that game plan. And again, there's got to be a balance of you being confident in your strengths and also being real, understanding your opponent's strengths and being honest with that and knowing where you need to improve. So many ways you can go about this. So for all you guys who got competitions coming up soon, I want you to kind of think about that, meditate on that, think about, how can we continue to evolve our game and focus on what your attributes are, keeping those nice and sharp, at the same time putting the time in to work on the weaknesses in your game. Get the weaknesses. And the weaknesses a lot of times comes from just the understanding, right? If you don't understand something really well, or you're not very well versed in it, it becomes a weakness, right? But we can always dedicate a little bit more time to getting that understanding, to getting that physical movement down and getting the muscle memory. You can put time in, and there's always room for us to improve on every aspect of the game. So a lot of things for people to remember when they watch back a series like Leon and Usman. There's been plenty of those situations in a lot of trilogies and fights and rematches. Look at Pacquiao Marquez. Pacquiao won 2 fights. They had a draw on one of them. On the 4th fight, Pacquiao was knocked out. He had Cormier and Stipe. I think Cormier won the first one, Stipe won the next 2, and bounces back trilogies, wars, and battles between champions. There's going to be ways for us to adjust, and there's going to be sometimes mistakes that are made. And once we realize that those mistakes aren't going to define us, we can move on and we can get better. And at the end of the day, that's all everyone's trying to do, is move, get better, and improve the way they fight and the way they carry their lives on. So a lot of things to think about there. Again, let me know what you guys' thoughts are. Mark, what do you think about all that rambling I did?
I had one question for you. Did you see what Masvidal said on Jerry? He said that he thinks Usman came back a little bit too early. And
Oh yeah. I did watch the Masvidal interview, but I didn't remember that part of it. He said he thought Usman came back too early.
yeah, a little. He said he thinks he came back a little too early, and he does think that Usman's overall the better fighter. He just thinks that maybe the KO is still in his head, and that even Masvidal said himself that he hasn't gotten over his knockout or when he got knocked out by Usman.
And the thing is, you could definitely has a fair point there, but then you're also talking about Masvidal, who's coming from the vantage point of him slapping up Edwards and knowing that he wants that fight, and he wants to kind of stir the pot a bit. So again, as fair as that a judgment that assessment of the fight may be, there's got to be a little bit more to that incentive-wise and a little more bias toward it, because obviously Usman knocked the hell out of Masvidal, and we saw that stone cold. For Masvidal to say that Usman is better than Leon, obviously is intention that's saying that, hey, because in a transitive property, that would make Leon better than Masvidal, because Usman beat Masvidal twice. So I think Masvidal is just trying to play it a little bit, where he's trying to make sure, like, hey, I'm not that bad. I'm not worse than Leon. But again, it's a fair assessment, and I know Masvidal is game. His name is Game Bread, and he's ready to fight. He's ready to get that title. He wants Leon back, and I think when we look at it that way, yeah, there's a call for taking time off, but let's see how Masvidal bounces back from this layoff. Let's see if Masvidal he's been knocked out for the first time in his career, and for him to fight Gilbert Burns as his first fight, this is going to be another test to see if Masvidal is able to stay up there in the upper echelon, because Gilbert is definitely there. We know Gilbert's hungry, and we know Gilbert's always going to be a threat if he's fighting. So I'm interested to see that matchup. Masvidal, I've been a fan of for many years. One of my favorite fighters, has the best boxing IQ in the UFC, in my opinion. And he got caught, and he got caught by a big shot from a guy he underestimated striking wise. And Masvidal has always been one to keep it 100, keep it real. But there's always going to be the part of it where you have to think business wise. He's probably thinking about trying to get that check, trying to get that championship bout. So he's going to say what he needs to say, and he's gonna make the points he needs to make so that he can get that money fight. Edwards versus Masvidal would be massive. I'd love to see that. Let's make that happen, please, as soon as possible. Sean, whoever's listening, if you got connects to the UFC matchmaking, just let them know. Hey, we got to get this fight, man. I think that's to be next. Honestly, after Usman has lost to Masvidal, sorry. Since Usman has lost to Edwards twice, the winner of Burns and Masvidal need that title shot, please. McGregor's talking about getting that after he fights Chandler, but nah, I think Burns and Masvidal needs to be the one.
Apparently, Colby's in line for it too.
Oh my
according
gosh,
to Colby.
No man, Colby Covington. That's another story for another day. If whatever the matchup they make, we'll retouch based on this. The welterweight division is stacked with prospects, with killers. I'm calling it now. Future champ, Shavkat Rakhmonov, okay? I'm calling it right now. He will be a champion one day in the UFC. Mark my words. I will touch base on this podcast again. Shavkat Rakhmonov will be the champion, okay? So, again, let me know what you guys' thoughts are. Let me know if you guys have any other questions. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Subscribe, all that stuff, and, we'll see you guys later. Train hard. Stay consistent, everyone.